Hey, this is Wakia Thunder. I rarely make this many videos in a row. I don't know if I'll release this today, but I had some thoughts that came to me today about certain things. I was making a post, it comes to me at the weirdest times, on Greg Hunter, and they were talking about events and cycles and stuff like this, and all of a sudden something just like it was like a awakening, almost an epiphany to me about what people call the big event or some catastrophic event or something happening in the world uh, that's extraordinary. Now, a lot of people thought that 9/11 was extraordinary, and indeed it was, and it was planned. Now, we are seeing the thoughts that came to me, or the visions that came to me, or that we are seeing a series of events, one right after the other, like I discussed in my video yesterday. See video yesterday. um, a series of events that are being thrown at us left and right, like I mentioned the airliner events and the North Korean hacking event and the hacking event yesterday and the Paris assassination or terrorist attack, all phony, planned, covert things that might be, okay, and probably are planned to keep people in some kind of control mode where they're in a state of fear. But the thought came to me that they're throwing so many things. Now, listen to this carefully, because I think it's important. They're throwing so many things, or so many things are coming our way, these planned events, that people are, instead of getting fearful, they're becoming numb to it. It's like, oh yeah, 12 people got killed today in Paris, okay. Or, oh yeah, a bunch of kids got killed in Pakistan, okay. Or, oh yeah, that's over there anyway. So their little plan, if it is their plan, of keeping people in control by fear is maybe not going to work with these, what I call substrata events. Not volcanic events, but substrata or strata. It ain't going to work. And so what's going to happen is they're going to resort to a bigger event, because they have to have that component in there of problem, reaction, solution, which is a well-known shock doctrine type thing. And then we also have the shock doctrine where people have to be put in shock, but they also have to feel that there's a solution to some problem that's been created. And these smaller events just aren't doing it. That's my take. And so the way I look at it is they're going to do a biggie. It's going to be another 9/11, only 5 times bigger, maybe more. Now, this event that's coming up, that they're planning, maybe they're getting us ready for it, maybe, you know, got to look at, I'm just thinking, the bottom line here is that unless people react the way they want them to, or react the way they want them to, problem, reaction, solution, that they're not going to be able to, the problems aren't big enough for them to react the way they want people to react. Now, bear with me. So what they're going to do is they're going to do a big event, like I was starting to say. 9/11-ish, big. And if they don't do it purposely, All the stuff that they're doing right now, all the things, now tell me if this makes sense to you, all the things that they're creating right now in this frenzied rush to get people in line or set people up or whatever they're doing, isn't working, and it's also dangerous. Okay, and the way it's dangerous is that, like I said on my post, it's like a landmine. Okay, it's like they stepped on a landmine, or they step on a landmine, and boom, that big event becomes one that they hadn't planned for. Okay, get my drift here? It becomes a 9/11, a seismic, volcanic, event. So there's two ways this can go. There's two ways this can go. It can go planned or unplanned, but it's going to happen. Because if it wasn't going to happen, now listen to me carefully, we wouldn't see the signs that we're seeing now. We wouldn't see the buildup. We wouldn't see, if they're doing all these planned events, it's because there's some kind of buildup behind the scenes, like a financial collapse, or probably a financial collapse, or a changing of currency, or a financial war, because the oil thing is still real low, which is destroying the fracking industry, which they started. So why would they, like I said before in another video, why would they destroy their own fracking industry and throw that away and throw the progress there away, unless they have bigger fish to fry than the fracking industry? You get my drift? And the bigger fish is like, well, we don't need the fracking industry right now, because if we bring down another nation, or if we invade Africa, or we send more troops to Africa, or we garner some territory in the Ukraine, or we do this or do that, we'll gain more oil, we'll gain more resources, we might lose the fracking now. This makes sense to me. This is, as a strategist, this is what I'm saying. Okay. The big event is going to come. Everybody's expecting it, but it's not going to be anything like they think. It's not going to be just like a 9/11. It's not going to just affect a couple of blocks in New York and some 3,000 people in a building. It's going to affect millions, if not billions of people. Because that's the only thing that's going to shock people anymore. It's kind of like, and they've said it before, a Pearl Harbor type event, like they did with Operation Northwoods. And it could involve a dirty nuke in New York, or it could involve a nuke going off, limited nuclear warfare with Russia or China or whoever, a mistaken thing, a buildup that they didn't expect. They're playing it by ear. You can tell right now that they're playing it by ear. And that's the scary thing, is that they're playing it by ear, because the contingency plans for as many events as they're throwing at us that could go wrong. You think that every event that they throw at us, they calculate it out to the nth degree? No, I think it's just kind of like a bunch of guys sitting around a table and going, yeah, maybe we should do this right now. Not thinking about, they think about consequences, but they don't think about supreme consequences. They don't think about the supreme consequences of what they're doing. They don't think about, what if we make a mistake? And you don't think they can make mistakes? Wasn't that a mistake when Custer went in? Let's take some historical things here. Custer was full of himself and thought he was the great Indian fighter, and thought that he could rout out anybody, anywhere, any Indian, and he used people to even other Indians to support his methodology. And he went in at the Little Bighorn, the greasy grass, and got wiped out. Okay. In seconds, the big Indian fighter, Custer, with all his well-laid plans. Well-laid plans, he thought. I see the tracks, I can follow them. They're not that big. In other words, I'm using this as a metaphor to tell you that mistakes can be made, people. No matter how well they think, how prideful they think they are, or how well they think they have things planned out, there's always the factor, okay, the what if factor, okay, or the Murphy's Law factor, or the whatever you want to call it. Because no matter how well you lay plans, the universe functions in a way, okay, that change comes about every day. Change, periodically, in everybody's life. You know it. Change happens in your life. You'll be feeling one way, one day, and the next you'll be not feeling that great, or maybe you'll be feeling greater, or some little incident can trigger this or that, or blah, blah, blah. That happens in our everyday life. Well, that's the microcosm, and you have to extend that out to the macrocosm. But this shit is either coming from the cosmos or you're projecting it out to the cosmos. I don't want to get too deep here because people won't understand it, but bottom line is the best, the best plans, well-laid plans of mice and men, whatever, are, they're not infallible. So I see it as there's going to be an event, okay, and this event's going to be big, and it could be so big that it'll threaten humanity, life on Earth, as a species. It's possible, and it seems to me like it's way overdue. Like I say, you can feel build-ups just like you can walk outside and a thunderstorm's coming if you're in the desert. You can see it in the distance, you can smell it in the air, even if you can't see it. So events that are let's review this now. They're throwing a bunch of events at us, they're not working, and people are all too dumbed down. Their own plans are backfiring. People are really dumbed down and stupid, and they don't see what's going on, or either that or they support the event that they thought that they were going to be fearful of, or there's a million variables. And these events are not working. The people are dumbed down. They don't care. There's so many events, it's like I said the other day, you can't remember what happened last week. So what's going to shake the shit out of people mentally and physically and spiritually? What is going to do that? A big, big event. A 9/11, Pearl Harbor, and history repeats itself, and they tend to use the same tactics over and over. Okay. If you look at Sun Tzu's Art of War, there's only so many tactics that can be used. Feigning weakness, and I won't go into them all. Read Sun Tzu's Art of War. It'd be the best thing you could do. But from a tactical level, from just a by the numbers level, this shit ain't working for them like it should be, like they want it to be. And now this event that I'm talking about, this big, big, big event, could come in any way, shape, or form, financially, nuclear, physical, spiritual, could come maybe all of them all at once, okay? But the financial thing could be a veritable landmine. If they don't get that straight, if the people wake up on that end of it, then they won't have people that are in fear. They'll have people that are angry. This is a very important video. I've been receiving some very strong intuitive visions, and I'm crystal clear on this. Okay, so you should listen. But the financial thing could be a landmine. It could be explosive and make people angry, just the opposite of maybe what they want. Of course, anger and fear is the same thing. It's anger is fear. You're angry because you fear something. Okay? So then if we look at it that way, that they could purposely cause a finance, they could purposely make, excuse me, they could purposely make people angry financially. But it doesn't seem like they're doing that right now with the oil going so low, and people get to pay more, less for gas. And see, they use that to ease tensions too. There's multiple purposes. They can use it to bring down Russia, but they can use it to ease tensions. Yeah, it's getting better. We're not paying so much for, but is it? Are the lower oil prices reflecting in the food that you get at the market and stuff that's carried by trucks and trains that use gasoline? Is that getting cheaper? No. So anyway, excuse me, anyway, there's this event that's going to happen. And it's either going to happen unplanned or planned. Okay? Because it's just a natural buildup. And I heard this guy talking about cycles. I didn't exactly agree with him because I don't know that much about the larger cycles. But as far as small cycles, things build up and then they blow up. Volcanoes get action and movement going, they build up and then they blow up. Storms build up. It's a law of nature. Storms build up. First they're just little few clouds in the sky, and then you see a thunder anvil, huge cumulus clouds descending 35,000 feet. They build up and then they burst open. Tornadoes build up. Everything builds up, and then it's the law of construction or creation and destruction. It's a law, okay? And you can't get away from it. Not in this duality. So the big event will be based on those parameters that I just mentioned. Consider it. And that gives us a new perspective, doesn't it? It gives us a perspective of that we're looking at all these things now as interested observers as to what events, how many more events are going to have to pull before they realize that it's not cutting it and they're going to have to do a bigger event, or that's what we're watching for, or we're watching for landmine events, which are, they call them black swans. Okay, that's their name for them. I call them landmine. Because once you step on a landmine, you can't take your friggin' foot off, baby. Once you step on a landmine, I don't care where it is, you can't take your foot off. You've already, you've already made that move. They're making moves now. Okay, this is the metaphor. They're making moves, and they could step on a landmine. And when they step on that landmine, they can't take their foot off. They've already done it. It's already a done deal. Okay? And if they make the wrong move, it's a done deal. That's That's what a black swan is. A black swan event. It's not a black swan. You can call it a black swan if you want to. I'd call it a. Why associate it with animals? Let's just call it what it is. It's an explosive event. It's a unplanned event. It's a landmine. Okay, that's been stepped on. And so you either step on the landmine or you trip a wire that releases a claymore mine. You know what a claymore mine is? For those who don't know military jargon or anything about it, a claymore mine faces you, and it's in a little box stuck into the ground with trip wires. And when you trip the wire, this claymore mine explodes with shrapnel right towards you, directly in your face. It'll rip a body in a million pieces, or sub-million, whatever. You're gone, basically, is what I'm saying. It's just boom, like that. Boom! It's over. Now with the other type of mine, you step on it, you can't take your foot off. Okay? And then they have other kinds of trip mines. But whatever kind of mine is out there that's waiting. So remember, it's either planned or unplanned, and unplanned means minefield, and planned means minefield too. When you think about it, like I said, if they step on a certain area, they thought, oh, that's cool, we can step here and we'll just cause agitation. But then they find out that no, they're into something much bigger, then they can't back out so easily. They can't take their foot off that mine. This is all crystal clear to me. And I'd like to hear your comments about it, but it came to me as I was writing a post. That's how things come to me. They come to me instantly. Boom, like that. Oh, I see the picture now. See what's happening. Okay. And it's basic, problem reaction solution, which is by some author I won't mention because some people don't like him, but he had some really good points. And I don't want to distract anybody. He had some really, really good points. And it's also not just one author, it's several people have come up with that conclusion. And the shock doctrine by Naomi, I can't remember her last name. She's well known. She's a very good writer. She's on top of it. They ain't going to get that shock doctrine going unless they have a big problem. Something to kick off the shock doctrine, the shock, so that they can... And they've done this so many times now. But see, every time... Now here's another component I should mention. Every time they do this, the world's so complicated and it's getting so massively connected, and people are connected with the cosmos. They could disrupt the whole cosmos. Okay. If they do that, it's over. There's always that slim chance that people would even see through the big event. But, I wouldn't count on that, because people tend to just go into abject fear and panic on a big event like that. It snaps them out of their iPod and iPhone reality quickly. And then the big event is usually followed up with a drive to war. These are just simple but complex in a way strategies that are used. And you can't keep using the same thing over and over again without it numbing the people to it. It's like sometimes you get numb to events around you, or you tune them out. You just say it's another bullshit thing. You know, like we do. I say that myself. It's another bullshit thing. But every bullshit thing they do is bound to blow up in their face, or just numb the people down so much that they're going to have to take it another step higher, which I think they probably already figured out by now anyway. And on this show today, they discuss why didn't Obama go to Paris and show respect, or because he created it. Why would he go to an event that he created and the CIA created and they're in collusion with? And it's like, he knows it's all phony. Why should he go over there? That's a big faux pas. If he's going to put on a show, he should carry it to the very end. Besides, what's wrong with the trip to Paris? I'd love to go to Paris. Anybody live in Paris? Want to pay my plane ticket over there? I'll be there. It's a beautiful place, I guess. Who knows? It's been a while since everything's getting kind of horrific now, place-wise. So I'll leave it there today. Those are some things that came to me, and I think they're important. I normally don't do 3 videos in a row, but I don't know. I felt like I should tell you people and get your feedback on it. Really, seriously. It's clearly evident to me that that's what I just discussed is what's happening. So anyway, I'll leave it there today. This is the Campfire Council with Thunder as presiding elder, wishing you a good walk on the red road. Adios.